Right, Nana? So in the last class we had discussed about performance, right? Performance of whom? Employees. So when we talk about performance management, we're talking about managing the performance of employee. Okay. So basically, there are altogether how many points that I have covered in the last class when it comes to components of performance management? 5, Nana. Performance planning, performance appraisal and review, feedback and counseling, reward for, and performance improvement plan. Okay. So these are the components. So with this we'll complete the term performance, Nana. Then we'll go to the term productivity and efficiency. Am I clear? So let us go through up to this point in our masterminds material. Our material is given to you. So in this first module, what we are going to learn, which is already given here. Okay. So we are going to learn about performance management and its components. Difference between performance management and performance appraisal means assessment. Assessing something is called as appraisal. Reviewing. Okay. Assessment, Nana. Then after we'll come across the terms productivity and efficiency. What do you mean by productivity and what do you mean by efficiency, Nana? Okay. And last of 3 components, you people are well aware about it. You people are aware about it now. Last 3 components: performance analysis, financial performance analysis. When you talk about financial performance analysis, generally we refer to the financial statements. That is P&L account, balance sheet, cash flow statements, etc., etc. Isn't it, Ra? Generally, when we talk about performance analysis, it means nothing but financial analysis. But in this subject, we are going to learn that financial analysis is not your complete analysis. Apart from financial analysis, we need to analyze non-financial components also. Because that means we need to focus both on financial as well as non-financial parameters. So let us go through the first question. Some introduction part is given here. So what do you mean by performance and why it plays a very important role? And is it a one-time activity or a continuous activity? Is performance a one-time activity or continuous activity? I'm talking about performance appraisal or performance management. Is a one-time activity or continuous activity? Obviously, it will be a continuous activity because when objectives keep on changing, automatically you need to review the performance time and time again. So the same thing is given here. Who has a student mic? Dena? Read it, Nana. Introduction.
Introduction. Performance of entity is to be measured before it is managed.
Before managing. What do you mean by management? To control something, first you should know the actuals, right? We'll compare the actuals with the standard. Then only we'll come to know whether we are in control or not. Isn't it, Ra? So before managing something, we should measure it first. Once you measure it, that means you have actual data. Now using that actual data, then you will start managing the things. So the same thing is given here. Performance measurement of an entity is to be measured before it is managed. So before managing anything, you have to measure it. Next, Nana.
Traditionally, performance is measured and managed based on financial.
So whenever we talk about performance management, it simply means financial management. That was the traditional meaning of performance management, but later on they have changed it. Next, Nana. But in
today's exceedingly competitive and complex business environment, performance measurement and management on the basis of financial parameters falls short of capturing the essence of sustainability of the enterprise.
But nowadays, if you want to know the true performance of a company, Not only you have to take into consideration financial parameters, but also you have to take into consideration non-financial parameters. That means you have to focus both on financial as well as non-financial. Then only you will get the complete picture of the company. In olden days, we used to simply focus on financial parameters. But after internet revolution, after social media revolution, along with financial parameters, we have to focus on other parameters also. Then only we will come to know about the performance of a company. Means what, sir? If you observe the news or social media, you will find very few companies in news channels. You will not get any major news about those companies in news channels regularly. Why, sir? They deliberately want to do that. Best example for that one. You will come across news regarding Akash Ambani and Radhika Merchant in the marriage of Akash Ambani and Radhika Merchant in the news, but not the normal business transactions of Reliance. Very rarely you come across normal business transactions of Reliance in news. Apart from AGM, you will not get any news regarding Reliance Industries. Am I clear, Nana? You will get all other information, all other personal data, etc., in news channels, but you will not get the business information in news channels. Why? Companies deliberately do it. Because if they pass on some sensitive information to the news channels, it may adversely affect the confidence of the investors. The share prices may fluctuate. Deliberately, cautiously, they do it. They don't want to pass any random information to the news channels. Everything will be scrutinized regularly. And if they want others to know, then only they will pass on that information, or they will not pass on that information. How many of us know what is happening in Reliance, and how many of us know what is happening in Adani and Tata's? None of us know, because they do not pass out that information. Only when financial reports have been declared, Nana, that means financial year is completed, they have to submit the details, right? To this, then only they will pass on that financial information. Apart from that, they will not pass on any other information, because they don't want to affect the confidence of customers, confidence of creditors, confidence of suppliers, confidence of investors. Because they know that apart from financial, other non-financial aspects also affect the market and the wealth of shareholders. Am I clear, Nana? So nowadays we need to focus both on financial and non-financial. So this is a key point here. Next, Nana.
Performance measurement and its management in today's VUCA.
It's an acronym for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguity.
Business environment.
Basically, these are the four terms which are used to define present business environment. Is business environment stable or volatile? What do you mean by volatile? It keeps on changing. Is it certain or uncertain? No one knows what is going to happen in future. Is it simple or complex? There are several factors. There are several factors which will affect the performance of the company. Which factor? No one can pinpoint one particular factor. There are several factors. Okay, there's the reason why no one knows when the stock market is going to rise and when the stock market is going to crash. If I'm not wrong, yesterday itself, I think Adani lost around 90,000 crores of wealth. No one knows why. There was some information that was being passed on. And in share market, whatever the information passes on is nothing but a gossip. So no one knows when they earn profits and no one knows when they lose money now. It is that much complex and ambiguous. Ambiguous means not on a confusion. You cannot pinpoint to one particular factor and one particular reason. That means you cannot identify cause and effect relationship. You cannot identify the cause and effect relationship now. That is called as ambiguity. Ambiguity means doubtfulness or confusion. Okay. So these are the terms that are used to define the business environment. Next, Nana.
Business environment has outstretched beyond the traditional financial approach as researchers identified that the stakeholder approach is unable to
Stockholder. There is a difference between a stockholder and stakeholder. Earlier, we used to focus on stockholders or shareholders only. Now, along with shareholders nothing but investors. We were concerned only about investors, but along with investors, we need to think about others also. Others means who, sir? First, employees. Next, customers. Next, suppliers. Am I clear, Nana? All the agents or all the units which are linked to our organization. We need to think about all these organizations or units. So we slowly replace the term shareholder or stockholder with stakeholder. Next, Nana.
rather that stockholder approach is unable to cope with the changing dimensions of the business environment. Rather, the stakeholder theory of the firm, which pivots on the simple argument that in order to successfully sustain the rigors of the new business environment, a business has to adopt a new approach where it identifies employees, customers, suppliers, competitors, and other group along with the investors as the stakeholders.
Yes, Nana. So that means we need to shift from stockholder to, that means we are not only concerned about investors, but we need to understand and focus also on our employees, customers, suppliers, competitors, because all these factors affect our business. Yes, investors are the most important factor, but apart from investors, employees do also affect our business. Competitors do also affect our business. Customers and suppliers also affect our business. So we need to take all these factors into consideration while measuring the performance of a company. Next, Nana.
It is observed by the research that the key to success for an organization lies in the ability to possess more quantitatively and qualitatively resources at its disposal and efficient and effective utilization of these
The
resources.
success of the organization simply depends on two things: availability of resources and utilization of resources. Are resources available or not? Yes, resources are available. Okay. Mere availability of resources will not guarantee the success. How well we are utilizing these resources. These two plays a very important role. What do you mean by quantitative? What do you mean by qualitative? Goods and services. Goods and service. Are required goods and services available in the organization or not? Yes, they are available. Okay, when goods and services are readily available, how well we are able to use it. Okay, so this is about basic introduction. Now, question number 1. So in simple terms, what the introduction with the introduction, Nana, we want to convey that in traditional approach, we focused only on financial parameters. But in modern approach, along with financial parameters, we need to focus on non-financial parameters also. So earlier in olden days, whenever someone asked us to measure the performance of a company, we simply used to go to the financial statements and we used to measure the performance of the company, current year performance of the company with the past year performance of the company. So if there is increase in profit, then we used to say that the company is performing well. But as of now, that kind of analysis or measurement or management is not sufficient. Yes, you may be earning profits, but does not guarantee that you will be able to do business for a long period of time. Sustainable development is one thing, profitability is another thing. Sustainable development means able to develop over a long period of time. You may be earning profits today, but does not guarantee that you will be able to do business for a long period of time. You may be suffering from losses today. It does not mean that you are going to shut down your company tomorrow. So when we want to do business for a long period of time, merely focusing on profits is not sufficient. Along with profits, we need to focus on other parameters also. The foremost important parameter for any organization is focus on employees. Because as I said in the last class, without employees, no organization can be profitable. They need employees. Okay, so the same thing will be discussed in question number 1 onwards. Read it, Nana.
What is the key aspect of performance management, and discuss the concept of performance management and its futures.
Next, Ra.
In modern world, it is easy to comprehend that there must be some key differentiating resources between the successful and unsuccessful firms.
There should be some key difference between a successful and unsuccessful. Everyone wants to know why so and so company is successful compared to other companies. In an industry, we have number of companies, isn't it? Now, not all companies are equally successful. Some companies are more successful, some companies are less successful, and some companies are unsuccessful. Now, they want to know what is the difference between a successful company and unsuccessful company. The primary reason is employees. One company was able to retain skilled labor, another company is unable to retain skilled labor. If a company is able to retain skilled labor, so that is the strength of TCS. TCS is a government organization or private sector? Private organization, right? But people will treat TCS on par with PSUs because the way they treat their employees. In other organizations, you may be getting more package than what they are offering in TCS, but still, employees do not want to move to other organization. You may be earning 15-20 lakhs in TCS. Some other company may be willing to offer 35-40 lakhs. But here you have lifetime guarantee. You work till you want to work, adhering to all the rules and regulations. The moment you shift to other organization, he may be offering you more package, but there is no guarantee. The next moment when there is recession, he may ask you to leave the organization. Now, how TCS was able to develop such kind of reputation? By working on it over a number of years. That defines TCS. In fact, that defines Tata Group. Once you join a Tata Group, no one wants to leave the organization because they realized that we may have an idea, we may have the money, but we may not be able to achieve or fulfill that idea. To do that, we need employees. So, trusting people is foremost. The moment you start trusting people, they will be loyal to the organization. That's the key point. The moment you start trusting people, they will be loyal to the organization. Now, loyalty does not only mean working for long hours or long time. It also means working efficiently. The moment you become loyal, you will give your full effort in that particular job. That is what TCS or Tata Group identified. So, in every Tata organization, you will find that particular thing. They will give almost all sort of facilities to the employees. They will make you feel comfortable. You can't say the same thing about other organizations. People working in TCS, they know that even there is recession or some worst case scenario, there is no need to worry about our job. We may get salaries, the salary may be delayed by some time, but at least we will have our job. This kind of guarantee cannot be given about other organizations. Employees play a very important role. So that is a key difference, one of the key difference between a successful organization and unsuccessful organization. Earlier, Air India was owned by government. The same Air India was taken over by Tata. The first thing they did is that they retained some senior staff and gave an open letter to others also. If you are not interested with our organization, you can leave the organization. But I am not asking you to quit the organization. I don't want you to leave immediately. Earlier, it was under the control of government, now it was taken over Tata. So when company takes over another company, automatically there will be change in rules and regulations. Immediately they educated all the Air India employees about the rules and regulations. This is how we operate. And you are happy with that, please stick on. Please continue working with us. If you are not happy with that, most welcome. You can leave the organization. No need to worry about it. The first thing they did is that they gained the confidence of the employees. No need to worry. We are not going to lay off any of the employees. In fact, We want to replace all the old aircrafts with new aircrafts. If I want to shut down Air India or downsize Air India, what I will not going to buy new aircrafts, right? But what they said, Air India had huge quantity of old and outdated fleet aircrafts. The first thing Air India said, that Tata company said, the Tata group said is that we want to replace all the old aircrafts with new aircrafts. So when I'm willing to change the machinery, automatically I need not only the existing employees but also the new employees. That is the kind of confidence they gave to their employees. Slowly, that company is earning profit. And slowly they will write off all their losses. The key point here is gaining the trust of employees, whether it's a manufacturing sector or service sector. Next, Nana.
One of the most important differentiating resource is people, which the traditional accounting system often fails to identify as an integral part of financial statement.
Without people, without employees, we can't do anything. Yet that element is not shown in your financial statements. Forget about profit and loss, Anna. At least in asset side, you will not see any employee ahead, right? This element is missing in your financial statements. Next, Ra.
In this respect, evaluation of the productivity of people and their contribution to organizational success is prioritized as the significant aspect of being successful.
Next, Nana.
This is a key aspect of performance
This
management.
is a key aspect of performance management. What is a key aspect, Nana? Evaluating the productivity of people and their contribution. Nana. Okay. How productive he is and how much he is contributing to the organization goal. Next, Ra.
Performance management is a key concept in the field of human resource management and is defined as a continuous process of identifying, measuring, and developing the performance of individuals and aligning performance with the strategic goals of the organization.
It's a continuous process, Nana. First, we have to identify, then measure, then develop. I think in the last class, I have explained all the 3 points, Nana. We have to identify, then we have to measure, then we have to develop. Why we need to develop the performance of the individual? Because the goals keep on changing. Yes, this time we have achieved a goal. Now company wants to fix a higher goal. To achieve that higher goal, we need to increase our performance. So all these things are covered under performance management. And government and company has to make sure that the performance of the employee is in line with the objectives of the organization. Performance of the employee is in line with the objectives of the organization. Both should go hand in hand. Objective should not be one thing and performance should not be against it, Nana. Let me explain it. See, earlier we used to take classes in Telugu before COVID. Now in COVID, everyone went online, right? Now when you go to online, automatically your customer base will increase or student base will increase. That means you will get students from different regions. So immediately management felt that we have a new market here. Earlier our market was restricted to only to Andhra and Telangana. Now we can expand our market to other states also. Earlier their objective was only to provide education to students in Andhra and Telangana. Now they want to expand their market. That means their objective is same or different. So to achieve the new objective, automatically the employee's performance should increase or not. So what management said? If you are comfortable in English, start taking classes in English. In fact, they started allotting those faculties who are comfortable with English only. Students who are attending online classes, for those classes, they started sending faculty who are comfortable in English. And they set an example to other employees also. Now you to learn English, if you start learning English, then automatically we will allot you those classes. So basically when the objective keeps on changing, automatically the performance should also increase, and this performance should be in line with the objective. Now if employees are not willing to learn English and teach in English, automatically management will not be able to achieve their objective, isn't it? That is the reason why in software companies also, time and time again, the management asks employees to update themselves with new softwares. In fact, what management does is that they provide those training on their own. The management itself will provide the training on their own. What they say is that in 8 hours a day, you do one thing. You work for 7 hours and 1 hour will be allotted for training. Whatever the online training or offline training that you require, it will be provided by the management itself. Why the management spending that kind of money on the employees? Because if the employee gets trained, automatically his skill level will increase and he will use that skill in their own organization. Next, Nana.
The following are the two issues of performance management.
When it comes to performance management, we need to focus on two things. One is continuous process. Performance management is not a one-time activity. It's a continuous process. And it should be always in line with the objectives of the organization. You should manage the performance in such a way that you are able to achieve your objectives. Am I clear, Nana? The organization, the management should manage the performance of the employees in such a way that they are able to achieve the objectives. Read it, Nana.
Continuous process. Performance management is a continuous process. It is a loop which starts with a setting of objectives and ends with measuring performance, training and feedback.
I think in the last class I have explained it, Nana. Basing on the objective, the management will define certain steps. And when defining these steps, management will sit with the employees. Isn't it, Ra? That is called as performance planning, isn't it? Along with employees, management will decide step-by-step procedure. Once this step-by-step procedure is defined, and once the actual work starts, then management will compare the actuals with standards. And they will take the feedback. And basing on that feedback, if necessary, they will provide counseling to the employees. And it's not a one-time activity. It keeps on happening again and again because objectives keep on changing. Next, Nana.
Alignment with strategic
Alignment with strategic goals. That means the management, performance management should be in line with organization goal. That means the company should manage the performance, should control the performance in such a way that it is able to achieve its objectives. The company should control the performance of employees in such a way that it is able to achieve the objectives. Next, Nana.
Performance management provides a linkage between performance of the employee and the organizational goals. Thus, a well-defined performance management system actually helps the management to understand the contribution of the employer to the organization.
Yes, Nana. That's the most important thing. Management should define clearly what is expected from each employee. Management should define clearly what is expected from each employee. That means they should define the standards. This is what we are expecting from you. Now, if we are able to do what we are expecting, then we can easily achieve our objectives. Am I clear, Nana? Have you understood, Ra? Basing on the objective, management will define the standards. Standards means what? Nothing but that is called as job role or job profile. Management will decide what is expected from each employee. Once you complete your CMA final, you need to apply for jobs, right? In that, they will clearly define your job profile. What do you mean by job profile? What is expected from you? If you take this job or if you get this job, what sort of work is expected from you? That is nothing but standards. And your performance will be measured against that standard. Now, how these standards or why these standards are fixed? Because management knows if employees are able to achieve these standards, then they can fulfill or easily achieve their objective. Next, Nana. Components.
What is the different component of performance management?
Nana, please make a correction. What are the? It's not is, it's are. What are the different components of performance management?
Components of performance management. Performance planning. Performance planning is the first crucial component of any performance management process, which forms the basis of performance appraisals.
What do you mean by appraisal?
Assessment.
Assessment, right? Next, Nana.
Performance planning is jointly done by the appraiser and the appraisee in the beginning of performance session.
Is it given correctly then? Yes. Appraiser and appraisee, or reviewer and reviewee. Who is the appraiser? Employee or employer? Management. Who is the appraisee? Both have to sit together and define the standards. Now you may ask, what is the need for employee to sit with management, define the standards? Because employee is the one who performs the work. So he knows what is realistically possible. Employee is the one who knows what is realistically possible. Management only gives the directions, Nana, but actual work is performed by employees. So while fixing standards, both have to sit together, discuss, and come to a common understanding. And basing on that, they will fix the standards. Next, Nana.
During this period, the employees decided upon the targets and the key performance areas which can be performed over a year within a performance budget, which is finalized after a mutual agreement between the reporting officer and
Reporting
the
officer means nothing but management, Nana. Okay, so in this year, to achieve this target, what sort of work is to be performed will be discussed in a detailed manner both by management as well as employees. In simple terms, management board of directors have given a target to the production manager. Board of directors, they belong to top level, right? So management can be divided into three parts: on top level, middle level. I hope people are aware of it. Now, board of directors, what they do, Nana? They simply give a target. They simply give you a target. Last year, our sales were 1 lakh cars. This year, we want to increase it to 1 lakh 20. That means we want to increase our sales by 20%, isn't it? That's the target that they have given. Now, this information will be passed on to the sales manager as well as production manager. Sales manager will come to know that I have to increase sales by 1 lakh to 1 lakh 20. So, he will start his work now. What sort of offers are to be given? Now, you will not have uniform sales throughout the year, especially in India. Sales will be more during festive season, isn't it, Nana? And that too, not in all festival seasons. Depending on the region, the sales pattern will change. In Andhra, more sales will be there during Dasara festival or Vinayaka Chauthi, if I'm not wrong. Sankranti, you will not spend money on cars and vehicles, now you spend money on betting and other things. Cockfighter? Right. In Northern India, car sales will be high or vehicle sales will be high during Diwali. In West Bengal or east side during Durga Puja. In west side, east side, right? In west side, Vinayak Chauthi. Mumbai, that side, Nana, Vinayak Chauthi. North side, entire North India during Diwali. South India, depending on the festival in different states, the sales will be high. So sales manager has to gather all this information, has to plan accordingly. Because the board of directors are not at all concerned about all these headaches. They only want to see that sales have increased by 20%. Now, how you will increase it? That's your headache. For that reason only we have employed you, right? So, sales manager will look into his headache now. Now, the same information will be passed on to the production manager. Now, production manager, what he come to know, Nana, that last year I have produced 1 lakh cars. Now, this year I have to increase my production from 1 lakh to 1 lakh. Now, don't ask me silly questions. What about closing and opening stock of finished goods? Zero. Okay. So, he has to increase the production. Immediately, the production manager will sit with his team of employees. This is the target given. Last year itself, we have found it very difficult to achieve the target. But anyway, we have achieved the target. And because of that reason only, management has given us the bonus. Not this one, but actual bonus. Now, this year, as expected, they have increased the target. Now, to achieve this target, what is required? New machinery, okay. New employees or more number of employees, okay. And redefining job roles. Production manager and the team together sit, they have to sit and they have defined what is expected from each employee. So both have to sit together, Nana, and they have to define the role of each employee. Once it is finalized, then they will start comparing this standard with the actuals. Next row. That's what it is given here, Nana, which is finalized after a mutual agreement. Both will come to a common understanding. So this is what we have to do this year to be able to produce 1,20,000 cars. Next, Nana.
Performance appraisal and reviewing.
Okay.
The appraisals are normally performed twice a year in an organization in the form of mid-review and annual review, which are held at the end of the financial year.
Mid review is held after 6 months. Annual review is held after 12 months, Nana. Okay. Next, Ra.
In the process, the appraisee first offers the self-filled up rating in the self-appraisal form and describe his or her achievements over a period of time in quantifiable terms.
Okay, Nana. Here, onus of appraisal is put on the employee himself. What the management is saying, you have done the work, right? Are you happy with that work? Yes. So please put the same on the paper. What are the targets given to you and how well you have achieved those targets? You know the targets, right? Yes, I know the targets, sir. And you know that you have achieved it, right? Yes, I have. So please put the same on the paper and give it to us. And give it to us. So what management is asking, Nana, you apprise yourself first. You apprise yourself first. Then you will come to know the reality. Okay, I was supposed to complete the work in 8 months. I completed the work in 7 months. Very good. I was supposed to complete the work in 8 months. I was completed the work in 9 months. There's a problem with that. So you apprise yourself. Put everything on the paper. A questionnaire, it will be given in the form of questionnaire, Nana. Questions will be given and you need to simply tick it. Yes or no. That's it. Okay, that is a common procedure adopted in all kinds of software companies. Once the project is completed, your performance is to be assessed or appraised. So what the team leader will say, Nana, he will simply give you a form asking you to appraise or review yourself or assess yourself. Do it and forward the same to the management. And management will again assess it. And basing on that, they will give you points, and basing on those points, you will get the increments. Next, Nana.
After the self-appraisal, the final rating are provided by the appraiser for the quantifiable and measurable achievements of the employee being appraised.
Next, Nana.
The entire process of review seeks an active participation of both the employee and the appraiser for analyzing the cause of loopholes in the performance and how it can be overcome.
Now, if you are able to achieve your targets as expected, management will be happy and you will be rewarded duly, Nana. But if you are not achieved the targets as expected, that means there is some problem in your performance. Those are called as loopholes. Loopholes means nothing but problems. Loopholes mean nothing but problems. Now, once they have identified the problems, they have to sit together and they have to analyze how to avoid such kind of problems in future. Okay, next.
Feedback on the performance followed by personal counseling and performance facilitation.
Obviously, you have to take feedback. If feedback is okay or good, no need to worry about it now. But if feedback is not okay, then obviously you have to provide some counseling to the employees. Counseling, nothing but advice given to the employees. Okay, last year was a tough year for you. You were unable to cope up with the targets, but you make these changes. If you make these changes in your working, then there is every possibility that this year you may achieve your target. This is called as counseling, advising. Okay, so the same thing we've discussed here. Read it, Nana.
Feedback and counseling is given a lot of importance in the performance management process. This is the stage in which the employee acquires awareness from the appraiser about the area of improvements and also information on whether the employee is contributing the expected level of performance or not.
Entire meaning is given in that sentence. Why feedback and counseling are important. Once feedback is taken and once counseling is given, the employee will come to know what are his strengths, what are his weaknesses, and what are the areas where he needs to improve. That's why feedback and counseling plays a very important role and it should be taken in a positive note. If you want to improve yourself, you have to take feedback in a positive note. This plays a very important role because at the end of the day, who needs to work, Nana? Employee. So he should know where he is lagging or where he is lacking. So if he comes to know, he will try to improve in that particular point, Nana, and the performance will increase. Next.
The employee receives open and very transparent feedback, and along with this, training and development needs of the employees is also...
Management has to do both the things, Nana. They should be straightforward with the employee. They should convey everything in a clear-cut manner. They should be as straightforward as possible. These are the areas where you are suffering. These are your weaknesses. First, they have to pass on this information. Immediately, they have to convey one more point. No need to worry. How to improve this? Further, we will provide you the training. But you should understand and you should realize and you should accept that you have some problems. These are the problems. These were the standards set and you are unable to achieve those standards. So these are your problems. No need to worry. We will help you in improving your performance. How? By providing proper training. Next, Nana.
The appraiser adopts all the possible steps to ensure that the employee meet the expected outcomes for an organization through effective personal counseling and guidance, mentoring and representing the employee in training programs which develop the competency and improve the overall productivity.
The same thing is followed in Masterminds also. As usual, it will be done in any kind of organization. Nana. Training plays a very important role. Unfortunately, after a certain stage and age, people will be reluctant to take any kind of training. The moment you start thinking that there is no need of training anything, Nana, that means you are not willing to learn anything. Training means nothing, learning new things. You should be learning continuously, irrespective of the profession you are in. Best way of learning anything is going through the books. You'll come across new things, Nana. Anyway, once you get into the job, you'll have practical exposure. So to add on to that practical exposure, you need to keep on reading new things. That's nothing but training yourself. Training yourself. If the employee is able to train himself, no need to worry about it, Nana. But in certain cases, management has to provide the training to the adequate training to the employees. Why, sir? So that they can improve their performance. Next.
Rewarding good performance.
Obviously, there may be some employees who have met your standards. Obviously, they will be expecting some reward. Now, what will happen if management does not reward them duly? Definitely, they will show that in their performance coming year. This year, they have performed well. Okay, Nana, expecting that management will reward them duly. Now, here reward does not mean just a word of mouth. They need monetary benefits. Now, reward can be of two types, Nana. One is just a word of mouth, and the one is monetary benefits. No one needs a word of mouth, Nana. They need monetary benefits. So when the management realizes that employees have worked efficiently, the production has increased, definitely they should reward the good performance. Read it, Nana.
This is a very vital component as it will determine the work motivation of an employee.
This is very vital. It will determine. That's what railways did to railway employees after COVID. They gave 2 months of salary as bonus. 2 months of salary as bonus, Nana. Why? Because they have worked very hard during COVID. Now, you may get it out. During COVID, everyone staying home. But see, the passenger trains were lying idle, but the goods train were working full time. They were the one which were transporting material from one corner of the country to and the goods train. I'm talking about goods train. So railways are working full time. And goods transportation, railways know and railways realize it that they earn huge amount of profits in transportation of goods rather than in transportation of passengers. Because when it comes to transportation of goods, you can't transport without paying the bill, right? Paying the charges. But when it comes to passenger transportation, there is no guarantee that you will buy a ticket. That's a major problem. So railways realize it that, Nana, and in COVID they have seen it. It earned huge amount of profit. So once the COVID was over, for Diwali, generally railways declare bonus at the time of Diwali. They declare around 2.5 months of salary. So some loco pilots got around 2.5 lakhs to 3 lakhs as bonus. It's a huge amount. It's a huge amount. It may be a very small amount for the organization, but it's a huge amount for an employee. Just imagine a person who is earning 25,000 rupees, a bonus of 10,000 is a huge amount for that particular person. But it's a very small amount for an organization. Now, once you give such kind of reward to an employee, definitely his loyalty towards the organization will increase. He will try to work more efficiently. He will push himself, Nana. So basically it's nothing but he will try to motivate himself because of this reward. Next round.
During this stage, an employee is publicly recognized for good performance and is rewarded.
Next.
This stage is very sensitive for an employee as this may have direct influence on the self-esteem.
Self-esteem and achievement orientation. When you are rewarded and recognized in the classroom, you have performed well in the examination and one of the faculty members has recognized you. Okay, Nana, so automatically what will happen? You will motivate yourself to perform even better in the coming examination. Same will happen in the organizations also. When you are recognized publicly and rewarded publicly, definitely you yourself has set a standard. You try to work more and much better in future. Next, Nana.
Any contribution duly recognized by an organization helps an employee in coping up with the failure successfully and satisfy the needs for affection.
Next, Nana. Performance improvement plan.
In this stage, a fresh set of goals are established.
That's why performance management is a loop, Nana. It's not a one-time activity, it's a loop. Okay, so once an objective has been achieved, the management is not going to rest on the same objective. Next year, it will change the objective. So when the objectives change, automatically again you have to perform all these things again in a fresh manner. That's what it is said here, a performance improvement plan. In this stage, a fresh set of goals
Are established for an employee and new deadline is provided for accomplishing those objectives.
Next, Nana.
The employee is clearly communicated about the areas in which the employee is expected to improve.
Already it was done in feedback, right? Already it was done in feedback. For example, in the last session was my first session, Nana. Last batch was my first batch when it comes to SPM. So once the batch was over, I got a feedback from the management asking them to make this subject as interesting as possible. Yes, it's a dry subject, we know that. Nothing is explained in detailed manner. They have taken one chapter from one subject, another chapter from another subject, another chapter, and then made it into a single subject. That's why it is kept under elective paper. Elective paper is meant for self-study, isn't it? Elective paper is meant for self-study. That is the reason why they have given option to the students. Out of these three papers, you choose one particular paper. Now, depending on the scoring, we have decided to make it mandatory in our institution to take 20A. Generally, what students feel is that some, not everyone, feel is that all these topics are covered in other subjects, right? You start feeling it bored. So make it as interactive as possible. That is the feedback that I have received. Now, that means what? Management is expecting some sort of improvement in that area. That is the purpose of feedback. Now, in feedback, generally they will highlight only the problematic areas, not the success areas, Nana. Only they will highlight the problematic areas. This is the area where students are suffering. So please make sure that the same thing is not repeated in the next batch. What about other things? Other things are okay, so no need to worry about it. But this is the only area that you need to improve. That is the purpose of feedback. So as usual in this batch, that is the area that management will focus on. This is the feedback that we have given him the last session. Has he made any improvements in that particular area or not? Next, Nana.
And a stipulated deadline is also assigned within which the employee must show his improvement.
Yes, Nana. A stipulated timeline, that is this batch. So we are expecting improvement in this batch only. Next, Ra.
This plan is jointly developed by the
As usual, just like above, Nana, this is developed by both management as well as the employee, whether it is practically possible or not. Next, Ra.
potential appraisal.
Potential appraisal.
Potential appraisal form a basis of both lateral, that is from one job profile to another job profile.
There is a meaning, Nana. Ignore the meaning. You can read it later on. Okay. Content that is given in the bracket, ignore it at the time of first reading. So potential appraisal forms a basis for lateral and vertical movement of employees. What do you mean by lateral? What do you mean by vertical? Lateral means horizontal. Vertical means Vertical means vertical. So lateral is nothing but x-axis, right? Vertical means y-axis. No. So when it comes to lateral, from one subject to another subject, that is lateral movement. From costing to SPM, SPM to costing, costing to economics, economics to, this is called as lateral movement. Single faculty dealing different subjects is lateral movement. Am I clear? In that same level. If I am teaching 3 different subjects in CA Inter, that is called as lateral movement. Am I clear? Now I got it clearly now. If I am teaching 3 different subjects at CA Inter level, that is lateral movement. If I am teaching one subject in foundation, one subject in inter, one subject in final, same thing is applicable in the organization also. A cost accountant may be working as a financial accountant also. That is lateral movement. That is a lateral movement. Am I clear, Nana? A cost accountant may be working as a stock auditor also. Stock auditor also. Lateral movement now. But a cost accountant will be reporting to CFO. CFO stands for, I will be reporting to CFO. Am I clear, Nana? And I am responsible for my subordinate. This is vertical. This is vertical. I may be interacting, a cost accountant may be interacting with financial accountant, may be interacting with stock auditor. That is lateral. Okay, Nana. So basically, in the start of the question itself, I explained about job profile or job role. Job role. So all these things will be clearly mentioned. When time permits, I will show you the job profile, Nana. They will clearly mention to whom you will be reporting, of whom you will be responsible, with whom you will be working as a team. To whom you will be reporting. You will be reporting to Chief Financial Officer. And Chief Financial Officer will be reporting to Chairman. So you will be reporting, you will be performing these jobs, and you will be leading a team, and you will be reporting to Chief Financial Officer. You will be working with other heads of other departments or heads of other departments. This is lateral. This is lateral. Am I clear, Nana? I am in finance department. I am reporting to CFO. This is vertical. Okay, Nana. I will be interacting with production manager. I will be interacting with sales manager. This is, am I clear, Ra? This entire thing should be clearly defined to avoid overlap of work. Read it, Nana.
By implementing competency mapping and various assessment techniques, potential appraisal is performed.
Next.
It provides crucial input for succession planning and job
This
rotation.
is the key point here. Succession planning and job rotation. Succession planning, future planning and job rotation. To keep employee interested, we want to change him from one job to another job. In this way, he will be interested. He will be learning new things. And the management will have some cushion, Nana. That is, if one employee is on leave, this person knows both kind of work, right? He can make up the absence of another employee. That's what they do in banks also. They will keep on rotating the employees for every 6 months. Because every employee will be well aware of all other types of work. So even if an employee is on sick for a long period of time, the working of the bank should not get affected. Others can step in. In olden days, if a person is appointed as cashier, he will retire as cashier. He only knows about that particular counter. But later on, after centralization of banks decided to rotate the job every 6 months. So by rotating the job every 6 months, what will happen after a certain period of time, a person is aware of different kinds of job. So if one particular person, unfortunately, he becomes sick and he goes for a long-term leave, there is no need for a bank to worry about, because others know how to work this, how to do this work. So others will step in. Job rotation. So this potential appraisal will help us in future planning and job rotation. How to rotate people from one job to another job. So these are the components. Am I clear, Ra? Okay, Nana. Next, Nana. Question number, we'll discuss question number 3 later on, but Question number 4 is self-study. Question number 4 is self-study. Whatever the points that I have covered just now, okay, are again repeated in question number 4. That we'll see in the next class. Am I clear, Nana? Right. Thank you, Ram.